Welcome to Keep the Game Beautiful podcast. Each week, I highlight incredible people who are doing amazing things in soccer, the beautiful game. I'm Anna Turi, your host. Thank you for listening. I wanted to start off by wishing everyone a Merry Christmas because this is being released the week of Christmas. I hope everyone has a great time and hopefully gets a little bit of a break. Even though this episode isn't directly holiday or Christmas related, I am still very excited to share this with you. Today with Rachel Breton, I was really excited to talk about all of the different levels she's played at. We first talk about her collegiate experience, her recruitment process, and her decision to transfer colleges actually too. We kind of move up to the next level then. We talk about playing overseas and also playing in the NWSL. She mentions how great of the experience playing overseas was for her, how she came back with a different perspective, with different styles of playing and different levels of playing as well, also with a whole new cultural perspective. I think we've heard that frequently from other guests, how playing overseas really almost changed them as a person, or they came back a newer person. I was also excited to talk to her about her retirement decision because that is a huge decision in her life. I think often we hear of players that don't have a plan besides soccer. I was excited to hear about what her plans were when she retired versus what she's actually doing now and what she wants to do in the future. I hope you enjoy the episode. So today's guest is Rachel Breton. Rachel played collegiately at Rutgers University. She was called up and played for Sky Blue, and she also played in Norway. She retired about 2 years, but currently she's spending some time as a sports psych mentor, photographer, and videographer, and she's also continuing to train like crazy. So Rachel, I'm wondering if you'd like to add anything else or talk about what got you to where you are today.
Nice intro. Good job. What I'm doing now is I'm doing a lot of social media marketing. I'm doing a lot of fitness-oriented stuff, helping out with a facility called AP2T. We do a lot of strength and conditioning, fitness training with a lot of current pros, former pros, Olympians. So it's been really fun. And now I'm coaching. And so it's been good. What got me here was, my dad. My dad used to play soccer, and I used to play with him, and I just loved the sport when I was a kid, so I just kept trying and going, and my parents were so supportive to just kind of let me fly, and I guess I was good at what I was doing, and it led me to do all those things that you mentioned.
So on this podcast, I always start with the same 3 questions. First, what does the beautiful game mean to you?
It means life to me. That's what it means. It means that everything that I've done with soccer and in sports has just shown me everything that I needed to know in the real world. They always say that textbooks don't teach you life. Maybe, but I definitely think sports do. I think soccer has taught me love and hate. It's taught me how to work hard. It's taught me what happens when you don't. It's taught me, that there are some things that you can control and that you can't. But it's definitely a home, something that is my a religion, where if I need peace, I'll go and I'll grab the ball, and like playing pickup with my friends still that are still playing. It means the world to me because it's just a different world that I get to visit.
What are actions or things you do to keep the game beautiful?
That's a good question. I just constantly talk about fun. Soccer's fun, and sports should be fun. You don't see any of these pros playing not out of joy, and if they are, then they're not being their total selves. So my constant message is to love it and to have fun with it. Messi always talks about how when he's no longer having fun, he's not going to play anymore. And I feel that because I really feel that that's what happened to me too. It became more of a job, and therefore I needed to move on and kind of give back the gift of the game.
How do you encourage others to keep the game beautiful?
Again, having fun, just going out there and working on your craft. You can't get bored with being your best version of yourself. I have a sign in my room called the Mamba mentality. It's from Kobe Bryant, and it says a constant quest to be the best version of oneself. You can do that in sport. You can do that in everyday life. And my old saying is, how you do anything is how you do everything. So just practicing those simple things will come a long way.
So, starting off, I really want to start kind of from the beginning. Can you talk about your college recruitment process?
Ooh, it's different now as it was then. Back then, and I went to Villanova when I was 2008, so 12 years ago. But back then there weren't so many resources like there is now. There's a lot of academy teams. There's a lot of acronyms out there. Back then there was only one academy team of PDA, and I think there was Match Fit, and it wasn't there weren't a lot, and it was a lot of club teams. So you had to get into these showcase tournaments and get scouted and do a good job. And there was ODP as well that I got involved in, and that helped so much with being on the state team, the regional team, the national team, and having all these college coaches get to see you. Exposure was huge. And for me, it was guest playing at different teams, doing a good job at these showcase tournaments, and then obviously ODP really helped me get sought out by a lot of individuals. But it is tough because then you got to reach out to all the college coaches. It's like a job, it's like your own agent. So it was a fun time, but it was a lot.
So, you talk about those showcases and probably like the stress and nerve of having to do your best to get seen. How did you kind of manage your stress and your nerves going into matches?
I only started to get stressed when I was in college, I think, which was really weird. I Actually, that's not true. There was some every time we had the regional camp or I had a national camp, I got a little nervous because I just wanted to do well. But as soon as I connected my first pass, I was good. And then I went into what they call in psychology the flow. So you just forget everything and you're just enjoying it. But I made sure that I was prepared. When I was younger, I didn't have much to really worry about, and I just was having fun. I did it every day. I was good at it, and I didn't really have much to be worried about. Only till I got a little bit older, I started to get a little too stressed about, oh, did coach see this? Oh, I passed that ball. Oh no, like I missed that shot, and it determined the rest of the game for me, which is wrong. But when I was younger, it was just I enjoyed it so much I didn't even freak out about it.
Were there ever times when you exactly didn't love the game at that moment or you weren't having as much fun as you wanted to?
Yeah, there was a lot of times. um, yeah, just like life, there's ups and downs. There was definitely some practices or games or tournaments that I was just, in a slump, um, either mentally or physically. Um, and even professionally too, there were just some practices that I didn't either get or agree with, or I was just frustrated with the certain circumstances. But you move forward. That's a test of your character. It's not going to be as you might have heard, rainbows and butterflies. It's as life is. It's just how you react. It's improv. So it was how quickly can I pull myself out of the negativity of the sport.
So, if I understand correctly, you transferred colleges also.
Hmm.
So, why did you make that decision in the first place?
I think because I picked the wrong school in the first place. And I say that with take that with this grain of salt, because I don't regret. I wouldn't go back and do it and change it because I'm happy of where I am today, and the relationships that I built. To say that you went to Villanova and Rutgers, those are great academic and athletic schools. So I'm very grateful for those opportunities. I had a lot of opportunities, and I just didn't know really what to do with college. I'm an only child. My parents went to college, but it was a different time. They weren't doing the same thing. So jumping in there, I just didn't know what to look for and why, and there was just so many things that I just didn't know that were important. So I first went to Villanova, but I got recruited by another coach, and then when I finally committed, that's when we got a new coach, and it was just not the environment that I wanted to be in, and the school, it wasn't a fit for me at that point of my life. So I gave it 2 years, and I had to go, and it was a great decision because I do love Rutgers. If I were to do Rutgers for 4 years, I don't know, because I only know it for those 2 years. I think that, for anyone who's listening, it's important to do your homework, where you want to go and why. I'm not saying that I didn't do that. I just didn't know the importance of what it meant, and I didn't know myself very well. I didn't know what I needed and did not need.
And we talk about in that recruiting process, now there are so many different opportunities and ways to learn about what you want to do that you might have benefited from back then. So, next, I kind of want to ask you a little bit about your next step up. When did you decide you wanted to play at the next level?
Um, I don't think it was a decision. It was just like a way. I graduated. I didn't take my 5th year at Rutgers. I didn't want to go to I didn't want to go to grad school at the time. I didn't think so. I didn't apply to it, and that's an important part with taking your 5th year, because that's what happens when you transfer. You get a redshirt year. I just wanted to play, and I thought it was an agent hit me up and told me that I could play overseas. There wasn't a league there yet. The NWSL was not existing. There was the WPS, but that already folded, so there wasn't really anything going in America. So I said, okay, I'll go overseas. And then what's it called? The NWSL announced that there was going to be a league in America. So I just, tried it out, and it worked.
What was your experience like overseas?
It was great. It was different. It was definitely very different. It was a culture shock. It was a culture shock because I'm from New Jersey / New York, and we are very go, 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 go. Norway is not like that. Norway is very slow in a good way. Very just, yeah, it took a while to get food. It was just different. But it was important for me because I understood myself a lot more. The playing style was different and good. I did like the top Syrian league. Going to all these other countries and playing was always a great experience. Same thing in Russia and in Spain and in Brazil and in England. It was always great. It was awesome to see the culture change. But it was also really interesting to see the differences between America and all these other places. There's good in all of them, but it was different. It was a little culture shock for me, especially because I've just been born and raised Jersey, and I'm just jumping around New Jersey. I'm everywhere and nowhere, but this is my home ground. So to live in a different country, it was good. It was really good.
If a player was ever given the option to go play overseas, would you encourage them to take that opportunity?
Absolutely. You should definitely do it.
So then moving on, Sky Blue. What was your experience like at Sky Blue?
It was good. The best thing that I can say about Sky Blue is that we had a bond. All of us are still close friends. We have a lot of fond memories, and we really clicked. Like a lot of the girls that have entered there, they are family. It's like we have like a little alumni group now, because a lot of players have jumped to either other clubs, different countries, or have retired or whatever. But we all still keep in touch, and it was just a good environment on the field. And it was home. It was home.
We talk about that bond. How important is that bond in the game?
I think it's huge. The guys' game and the girls' game is different. I think, and people can correct me, but it seems that guys want to win no matter what, and they don't care if they like you off the field. They're there to compete and go. There are some girls like that, but I think you can see true teams, and maybe this is also for the guys' teams as well. True teams grow together when they are together. When you have a whole bunch of individuals doing their individual stuff, they won't succeed as much as those that love each other and will fight for each other. And that's the one thing that I loved in my club team. We just wanted to do everything for each other. It was I'm going to work hard for you. And there were a lot of us that did that in the league as well. And it's very important. And it's very important in a team, period. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go further, you go together.
So when you were not a part as much of a team or as close of a bond on other teams, how did you see different playing styles almost, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, it just broke down. There was no connection. There was constant fight and banter. There's too much drama, and it takes away from the sport. The sport is its own language, and it speaks for itself. But when, again, if you're not on the same page in any team, and now a lot of companies, they talk about team, like, they're not, they like, let's connect with our team. you know if you guys are not on the same page, you don't get the end result, you don't get the product that you desire, and you then, in terms of sports, you don't win the championship. you know that's one thing that the NC Courage has done very well. Paul Riley creates these organizations that are based off of the same like-mindedness, and that's why he's won so many championships, because they're all, no matter what, on the same page of what the end game is.
Looking at the NWSL now and where it was when you were playing, how have you seen a change throughout the years?
A great question. It's different. It seems like it was a lot harder in 2013 when it started. It seemed like, because it was hot commodity, there was a lot of really, really, really good players, and there wasn't as much exposure. I actually am envious of the exposure that is there now, because I think if it was the way it was then, a lot of players would have stayed, because there was each team was pretty stacked. Now it seems it just seems different. It seems like there is a lot of exposure, but a lot of players have retired, or they've gone to different teams, or they've kind of fallen. And the biggest thing is just to see that the growth is happening for women's sports. So that's what's the most important. In terms of talent, I think it's subjective.
When did you make your decision to retire, and kind of what was that like? Because that is a big decision in your life.
It's a decision that I don't know if I'm okay with. I just I had some things that I had to take care of, with my family, and um, I also was not enjoying. I was doing what I tell people not to do. I was not having fun. And when you start to not have fun, and when you start to think of other things and kind of question, like, what is really my vocation and what else is there for me, that thought doesn't go away until you find it. So I already knew that soccer was going to end at some capacity, and every sport. You stop. Either you're mentally exhausted, either you're injured and you just can't go on, or you're physically capped, or you just kind of now have become in the back burner, or you just can't. So, but it's going to end. So what are you to do with the rest of your life? And that's really important. That's the whole reason why we go to school, period. And yes, we're athletes, but I'm not just a soccer player. I'm so many other things. And I wanted to kind of start that a little bit earlier. I don't think we'll ever be okay with not playing. That's my love. That's my I can't imagine. I would replay all of it, even the pain, all over again, just to keep doing that, But it's a never ending. It's the train, and it ends. There's a destination, So that is tough, and it still is tough, but there's just so much more hunger for me to do so many other things that I know that I can do. So that was kind of the decision, and it's also all temporary. Who's to say that I just can't get my boots on and go tomorrow?
Did you know exactly what you wanted to do after you retired?
I thought it was going to be sports psychology. I thought I was going to go right into school and get my master's or doctorate in psychology. I haven't, and I question why. But I think I'm just waiting for the arrow for the right thing, because I have jumped around in so many things that I just want to make the right decision, because my whole life has been boom, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I just kind of want to do one thing. And I didn't think I was going to retire that quick. I also didn't know what was going to happen, and I thought I was going to also be an architect when I was a kid. So here we are, not doing that. So, it's kind of it's kind of nice, because you kind of can just make up what you want and get after it.
So you talk about the like boom, boom, boom all over the place. How important is it that you take a break and kind of learn yourself and what you want and figure that out?
Um yeah, I think it's just trying to get to know yourself. Everyone has a certain thing that they desire, and everyone has certain things that they need. Once you start to figure those things out, you start to see what you don't need, what you can add on, what you could take away. And it's just, the quote of getting your ducks in a row. And for me, I am like Tigger. I'm bouncing around. I have so many other things that I want to do. I have a lot of energy. There's never enough time for me. But I know that about myself. So it's not that I'm hyper. It's just I like a lot of information, a lot of stimulus. I just want to be my best self every day, and that means learning different languages. That means reading different books. That means adding different jobs, because why limit yourself?
You talk about being your best self every day. Do you ever have those days where you just are kind of down and you don't really want to do much or you're not motivated?
Never. Just kidding. All the time. All the time. I'm human. But it's important to allow those moments. It's not, don't resist. If you're having a down day, you're having a down day. It's okay to say, hey, today I'm having a down day. That doesn't mean that I'm not being my best self. It's just, how you decide to spin it. Like today was a little bit of a down day for me. I'm not down, but there's not a lot of things going on. It's snowy, there's the pandemic, there's not really much to do, but I shoveled, I read, I'm having this chat with you, I did some of the Christmas tree. That's also really important, because that's me understanding that rest is crucial. And being present is crucial. So at the end of the day, it's just always how you decide to spin it. You can say, hey, today I'm just going to sit on the couch. That's okay. And that's okay. If you continue the habit and you don't like the habit, that's when it becomes a problem. But it's important to give yourself a little hug and say, hey, it's all right. Today's just not your day, and we'll just try again tomorrow.
I've found over quarantine that I kind of get unmotivated a lot, and I have online school and I just don't want to do it, and I'll sleep in. How do you stay motivated over times where you're not going anywhere or doing anything?
I would set like just little goals. Just I give myself a push and a pull. So I don't have to get up early for work anymore, really. So I used to get up early at 5 a.m. or like make sure I'm up at 8. I if I don't need to, it doesn't mean that I gotta sleep in all day. And I don't like that either. So I find it important to have a routine and have a schedule. I try to go to bed latest 1, maybe 1:30. And I have a circadian rhythm that I'm already gonna be up around 8:39. That's okay. If my body wants to wake up, great. Every other day, I'll get up early specifically just so I don't get into the habit of like, and I'll go for a run, or I'll go for an exercise, or I'll do something that I really want to do, read, watch something, make some breakfast, whatever it is, make some coffee, call somebody. But I'll do it every other day, so I look forward to the next day. So on my, quote unquote downish day, I know that I can sleep in and catch in. The next day, I'm rejuvenated to bounce back up. So for you, I would just set like little goals, and they could be either daily or weekly, or by the end of the month you want to accomplish blank, and keep yourself accountable. Measure it, and you'll see progress. No one ever gets bored with progress.
So I want to ask you also, why do you continue to train so hard and push yourself when you aren't playing at the pro levels?
This is a great question. All my friends keep asking me, so maybe they can tune in. It's just the way. It's just how I am. It's either we're gonna do it or not do it, and it's something that I'm used to. That's how I like to train. And there are times where I realize, you know what? Maybe I could taper it down. I just got this Whoop watch, which is really good because it tells me when I do too much, and I listen to it. Like I need a little more sleep, or you know what? Maybe I don't need to do that extra sprint or this. Like it's helped me a lot. But it's anyone can argue. It's like saying that about anything. It's like, well, if you're not in school, then why are you still reading books? It doesn't make any sense, because I like to do it, and it's something that gets me better. So I'm going to keep doing it until I can't.
So you talk about listening to your body and listening to the Whoop watch as well. How have you in the past not listened to your body and pushed yourself too far or not gotten enough sleep?
I think I've done that my whole life until this last year. And it's actually uh, made me just totally gas out and burn out. And it's not healthy. I used to think that it was a mindset. It's like, no, do it anyway. Get up and push, and, get after it, and don't be a wimp, and, be mentally tough. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not mentally tough. And I think I was a little wrong in my ways. I also think that it was important when I was younger, because maybe I was a little mentally weak. I don't know. Now I'm at the point where I'm mentally tough, that I understand the difference between pushing with a purpose and not. And I think when I was younger, I think I just wanted to see how far I could go. You don't want to have limits. I don't like limits. I don't like to be in Pandora's box. I don't like to be boxed in. I like to just I don't conform, and I just want to see what else I got. So I that means that I've had to reach exhaustion, right? Which means pulling all-nighters and not sleeping for 48 hours, or only sleeping restless nights, or constantly just exerting myself with sprints and sprints and sprints, or just the extreme. And now I've learned that you don't necessarily have to do that to get to where you need to get to. A lot of it, if you're trying to, it's just goal orientation. It's just saying, I want to have water, I want to sleep well, I need the right vitamins. This is my goal. this is my accomplishment. I'm going to diet here. I'm going to enjoy this. And that's just, again, experience and figuring out what you personally need.
What makes someone mentally tough? What attributes do you have when you're mentally tough?
I think it's knowing your worth. You know, I think a lot of times we look for validation of others. That's what social media is, right? You get the likes, that means you're good. You get the verification, that means you're famous, and none of it is true. It's not true. It's just, do you know yourself? And are you proud with what you do? And only you see it, only you and God. So mentally tough is knowing that you could push harder and keep going. And mentally tough is knowing that, hey, it's been a bad day, it's been a bad year. You're going to get out of it. You're not going to just sit in a situation that is only temporary because you choose it to be. Mentally tough is saying one more, always.
How important has your faith been throughout your whole journey?
Ooh, good one. Very important. I wouldn't be here without God. Seriously, like literally, quite figuratively. And faith is also like life. It has its ups and downs. Everyone thinks that, once you believe in God, or once you get baptized or saved, or, believe in Christ, and then it's all good. It's all good. You're not going to have any problems, and you're not going to have any doubts. And it's just like quite the opposite. Jesus struggled the most. Are you a believer?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So you already know, like, Jesus struggled the most, and a lot of Christians do. And I think with that narrative of understanding that all these books in the Bible, all these people that he's using, they're just been normal people, just casual people that you see, seeing how everyone goes through some struggle and some pain. That's part of the faith, and it's part of life. It's not all great. There's no one out there that's quote unquote successful that has gone through no pain. And in Christianity, you do go through pain, and no one has gone through any more pain than Jesus. And when I remember that, I think I can get through this. And I know that I'm not alone in anything that I do. I always have somebody with me. And the more that I get devoted into his word, and just surrounding myself by people that are like that, it's the only way sometimes you get through.
How have you helped others when they are struggling in their faith, or how have you helped others believe in God?
Struggling in faith, it's just reaffirming what we already know. Sending verses, but with meaning, having conversation, walking each other through it. And it's been the same thing with me. I've had the same stuff, having mentors, having people around to talk it through, because again, we're living in a counterculture world. To have people believe, I think it's more of a way. If you, instead of pushing it on people, it's just talking about it. It's just talking about it and acting a certain way that people look at you and you say, you're just a little different in a good way. There's something that something coming out of you that's, oozing off. Like I'm wearing, love first. What would Jesus do? He would love first. Like, it's just like these little things that, in my WWJD over here, you said these little things that, plant seeds. You just got to plant seeds. And once you plant seeds, what do? They grow.
How have some of your mentors influenced you in your faith and in the game too?
Just that very way of just being themselves, and seeing that they're human, but also seeing that they're holy. I think you could be human and holy at the same time.
How have you worked to mentor others in sports, psych, and just in general?
Just going, like, explaining my own experience. There's a lot of things that I've been through, or I've seen, or I've witnessed, or I've read, and it's just making sure that I can give those resources to those individuals that they can get something out of it, and again, letting them know that they're not alone and that we've all been through the same process. I think that's the most rewarding thing, is when someone says me too, or I've been there, and you can kind of finish the song of the lyrics that your friend forgets. So that's how I've done it, and keeping myself accountable too, so they can't turn around and be like, oh, you're fraud in what you're saying, because if you talk and walk has to be the same.
I think we have made it to our final question, and this is a question I ask every guest. What do you hope people remember about your impact to soccer and the world?
That she loved.
Here we go. Very simple. Thank
Yeah,
you so much for joining me today.
no problem. Thanks for having me.
It's crazy how different each person is. Rachel talks about always going, it seems like, how she's always up and always ready, and it almost seems like she's always motivated. And that is so different for so many people. Not getting as many hours of the day and not getting as much done in a day or not staying as busy. And it's all about learning yourself. And Rachel talks about her faith and how that can also help you learn yourself, if that is what you believe in, of course. It's hard to learn yourself, though. Me at 15 years old, I obviously have not learned myself fully. And even someone at 30 or 40 years old still hasn't learned their self fully. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and until next time, remember to keep the game beautiful.